Thank you so much, guys. Wishing Samu, as she is now known, will be known on stages across the land, all the best. I know she is going to kill it. She's done so well as an actress. She is going to dominate on stage as well. Now, let's get inspired this morning. We have been both so excited to get into this next discussion. A movement to inspire, to educate, to heal, and celebrate Black fathers is what you could say our next segment is all about. A group of black dads based in London, New York, and here in South Africa have come together to create a platform, a digital safe space, if you will, known as Dope Black Dads, where fathers come together to discuss their experiences of being black, being a parent, masculinity in this modern world. And the movement is led by none other than Marvin Harrison, who hosts a range of guests from all over the globe, including South Africa. And they've also got a podcast that is doing very well. Marvin now joins us this morning to tell us all about his widening global community. Marvin, a very good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. How are you guys?
So good. Thank you so much, Marvin. I was very excited, and Graham was too, with regard to this, because I think it's so important for us to get together, especially when it comes to our collective experience and sharing and saying that, you know, when you don't do something right, we can learn. When we do something right, we can share. And I think this is what the great thing about this podcast is. But just to start things off, what has your black male parenting experience been like? And how did this experience lead to you creating a podcast and this network?
Yeah, for me, it's been really interesting because I found it really challenging being a father. And so I had my second child and I really was aware that I didn't feel like a great father. So I wanted to find other fathers just to ask them what their experience was and how they felt about it. It was a balance between trying to be a highly functioning father as well as a great husband and as well as a great father. And what became really apparent is so many people really struggled with this. So many people had never really been celebrated for being a father specifically. And so by having a group of us all in together doing, trying to do great work, it really allowed us to have a bit of a mirror for each other. And it really helped us to come up with better ways to look at our masculinity, our parenting, how we were partnering, and find new, healthier attitudes. So it's been an absolute phenomenon to have that group of men because it just doesn't really exist anywhere else. And it's not something that men speak of primarily when we are together.
I mean, there are layers to this, especially if you consider what's gone on in the world, in the UK, in the US, even here in South Africa over the last year. I've got to ask, though, do you feel like a better dad now? Are you, when you say that, it almost breaks my heart to think that you're not feeling like a great dad. Do you feel like a better father as a result of what you've been able to do?
Yes, it actually works. It's one of those things where by building a community, you start to feel that understanding of that where your challenges are shared amongst multiple people at the same time. And that shared feeling actually does help you realize that, these are the areas that we all collectively need to be better at. These are things that I'm not particularly good at. But the main thing is that I'm not alone. And, we now have over 1,000 dads around the world across US, UK and South Africa. And we've been able to really, really support each other in every aspect of our lives. And what we realized is that by redefining masculinity, we then change the way we parent. It's not necessarily just how you parent, it's how you see yourself as a man and as a dad and as a male parent.
You know, that is very special because I think about the way we conduct ourselves as men sometimes, and we don't like asking for help. It's kind of like a trend in our species, so to speak, where we don't want to say, I'm struggling. We don't want to say, I don't know what to do here, because, as a man, traditionally, you want to make things happen and know that you got things locked down and all sorted out. But this is why that addressing of the masculinity is so important. Yeah. And I know that there are many contributors from New York, there are contributors from London as well, and South Africa. But in your dealings with this podcast and this network and people coming forward and sharing their stories, how much commonality has there been between you and, let's just say, a dad from South Africa or a dad from New York?
What's really interesting is I think in terms of the cultural differences, so I've done a lot of listening here since I arrived, and I've realized that, there's a very specific challenge that is applicable to South Africa. But where we have all kind of signed up to the incorrect ideas about how a man must be, I think that's where we've universally accepted that we have a lot more in common than not. And I think there is also a general black experience, no matter where you are in the continent, where things are seen of you, which need to be redesigned. And so when we first launched, it was very much about changing the narrative of black male fathers, black men. And then we realized that actually it's about how we feel about ourselves. And when we own how we feel about ourselves, we can make really powerful changes forward. And so we tried to make sure that, you know, things around like mental health, things around physical health, how we interact with our partners, how we interact with our children, you know, what does parenting actually mean? I think that's a massive, massive thing that we've become aware of, because I think too often, you know, parents feel like they must be the like sort of micromanagers of a young human being, whereas actually it's about how you guide them through their decision-making process, and you feed them in the early years with just really good values and clear ideas. And then afterwards, it's about guiding them as they figure it out for themselves. And that balance means that you raise much healthier children. And so we're able to collectivize all of our experiences and get the best out of all of us as well as our families.
Then you take that a step further. It's not just dope black dads that are connecting and being able to live and learn through this process. You've created dope black moms, dope black queers. Why was it so important for you to kind of expand that sphere and start to include more focus groups in this kind of charge to get people to form a community?
It's really interesting because one of the things we identified is the place of men in the black community, and that was a huge discussion at one point. And in my view, it was, you know, for us to even, you know, take an understanding where we were building ourselves, and the process was really working. It was transforming men in front of my eyes. We saw men changing the way that they were working, you know, their career progression, healthier family lives. And we wanted that for all intersections of the black community. It wasn't just about us. And if we improve ourselves and we share the insights and the frameworks that we've used to have intersections of the community, we're then getting to a point where our whole community gets a lot healthier. And so for us, and for me specifically, the queer addition at the end was absolutely vital, because it made our family complete. And it meant that every single intersection, we also have Dope Black Disabled, which is launching next month, which will then allow, you know, everyone to be seen and heard in this one central conversation about how we improve the outcomes of black people. So we are officially a family. I reference it as, you know, Thanos and his gemstones. We have them all now. Significantly more powerful as a community where we are all on the same page about how we want to move going forward.
Just when I thought you had elevated yourself above it, you just became a guy again. You just became a guy again. Well done, buddy. Marvin, you're doing an amazing job. The fact that you've been able to spread this network across the globe, I can tell you here in South Africa, this is a voice that's needed. So thank you so much, my friend. And thanks for getting up so early and taking the time to connect with us here in SA.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, guys.
So inspiring, and I implore you to go check it out. Dope Black Dads, that what it is. I think I've learned a lot. So has Graham. But there's a lot more dope stuff coming up right here in the Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso on SABC3. Stay there.